Yo, what's up, guys? We're live Monday night. Actually, I'm kind of loud, but let me shut this real quick. Let me see. Let me shut the door real quick because I'm echoing. Just fixing things around here. Things are crazy. Check it out. Got a new background, new backdrop. But yeah, Monday night we're gonna go live, guys. I'm on my phone tonight, so we may not get the full 2 hours in. We may only, well, we'll go as long as my phone has juice in it. And we're gonna have a guest. You guys already know who it is. We're gonna do a couple shout outs real quick. Let me scroll through here. I can't see as many comments as normal, but I see business 1, 2, 4. And what's going on? I met Roman at the Raleigh show. That's something else we'll talk about. Scott Bradley, global sports card investor. Talatiga Ulafale. I'm getting better at saying that. I've been practicing. Jason B. I love podcast. I also love podcast. Seamdius, what's going on, man? How you doing? Trigger finger already going in on Dustin, and Dustin isn't even here yet. The guest of honor is already taking heat for that Saints beatdown yesterday. We have Will, Ziggy, what's up? Bradley. And guys, we're going to talk about some stuff tonight. Let's talk about NFL. We'll talk about some games from yesterday. We'll chat about fantasy if you guys want to do that. The NBA market is heating up. If you haven't noticed, football that was up last week is down this week, and football that was down last week is up this week. It's just a crazy thing. Volatile market. And we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to take you guys' comments. You know, the chat controls the content. That's the way we do it here. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest at this time and see if we can do this on the phone here. Add to stream.
What's up?
Here it is. All right, what's going on? So does it feel weird?
Steve stole my house. I'm in a hotel room.
Yeah. Does it feel weird seeing this stuff in the background with someone else in front of it? What do you guys think in the chat? Does it seem odd? Ziggy says Dolphins are looking poor. They're 1-1. That's one game. You know, it's a long season. Tua got hurt early. When your offense can't stay off the field, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. They'll get worn down. They held Buffalo to 14 points for a majority of that game, and then it was just kind of they just broke because they were on the field too much. It was 14-0 for the longest time. So that 35-0 score at the end was kind of inflated. Of course, that is the outlook from a Dolphins fan. Might be a little bit biased. However, it is nonetheless 100% true.
Steve, how are you feeling about the Saints now that you saw them up close in person? How impressed were you after Sunday?
Yeah, lots of factors with that. Lots of factors in that game, but like we talked about it, Jameis Winston just looked terrible. What was it I was saying? When he had time to pass, he made poor decisions. And when he didn't have time to pass, when he didn't have time to pass, he made poor decisions. And when he did have time to pass, he just missed open receivers. That's the way that it looked to me.
Yeah, it was one of those days where just nothing went right. You know what did go right, though, was our trash talk up in the stands. So we might have lost that game, but we definitely won the trash talk war against the Panthers fans. It was actually kind of sad. I felt bad for them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely trash talk victory. It was definitely a trash talk victory. For you guys that don't know, Dustin and I attended the game in Charlotte yesterday. The Saints were in town. That's Dustin's favorite team. I'm in town, if you didn't notice. And Dustin, treated me to a game. We went to the game. We had fun. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun. Maybe not as fun if I was a Saints fan, but the tailgating, the game, the hanging out, everything. Even where we were sitting, like, we were up there, but it was cool because I'm bald and we were up against the wall. And so it actually provided some shade. I'd rather been there than anywhere else.
Yeah, this is where being on the nosebleeds actually worked in our favor because we were on the last row against the wall on the upper deck. But the thing that was great about it was, just like as what Steve had said, there was a little bit of a like an overhang to where the sun, and literally like 2 rows in front of us, the guys, like the sun was just like beating down on them. So like it was totally fine being in that back wall, where the top of the nosebleed section. It was actually pretty good, because it was literally like the last like hot day in North Carolina was yesterday. It was like 88. Today it was like high of 80 or whatever, and it's going to be cooling down here soon. So the one thing I'm going to say for all of you haters in the chat, what I will tell you is we were missing 8 starters and 8 coaches. It was a skeleton crew out there. It was an absolute skeleton crew. I probably could have ran out in the field and play and grabbed a spot. All right. So like, yeah, was it a bad game? Sure, it was. But does it mean that everyone's, the team sucks and, we're going to be 5-12 or whatever? I almost said 5-11. I've got to now add another game to it now, but no, I'm okay. We're not panicking over here. We're not panicking. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, we got our first comment from Ziggy, actually in regards to the modern NFL market and the boost that we did see today on some players. Of course, Darnold cards went up a lot. Christian McCaffrey cards saw some boost. To me, honestly, if I'm holding that stuff, I'm selling. Definitely on Darnold. I mean, his cards went up because the team's 2-0, but he himself is 3 touchdown passes through 2 games and less than 500 yards. So from a statistical standpoint, he's not really blowing it up. Now, it is most important in the NFL to win. Winning is actually more important than stats when it comes to cards. But Jimmy Garoppolo is now 2-0 and also had a really good game yesterday. And, is his stuff seeing big boost? Not really. I think a lot of the Sam Darnold stuff, Sam Darnold has been kind of crammed down people's throats as being a possible good investment. And so because he comes out and wins 2 games, he's won more than 2 games with the Jets. They were just a bad team. So does Carolina come out and win the NFC? I really don't think that's a thought. Does he start throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns? I don't see that either. Again, he looked good yesterday, even watching him in person, but he did have like a scrappy type turnover pick. And I don't know. For the price gains that he's seeing, to me, it's not a smart time to buy his stuff. It's actually probably something I would be moving on from. For myself.
This kind of reminds me of 2 years ago when Dak Prescott and the Cowboys started off 3-0 because they played 3 really bad teams. Not that the Saints are a bad team, but my point is that they went 3-0, maybe it was even 4-0 against just poor teams, and it was like, all right, Cowboys are making a Super Bowl run, and all of Dak's stuff went to the moon, and then they lost like 3 or 4 straight, 500 team. It all balances out. I think Sam Darnold, the thing is even with how bad the Saints played and being that half the team was missing yesterday, Darnold was not lighting it up. It wasn't like Steve and I talked about it. They had 1 play from scrimmage that was more than 20 yards. McCaffrey had some decent stuff, but McCaffrey wasn't killing us. He didn't have 100 yards rushing. It wasn't like an amazing offensive performance, and half of our defense was not on the field, half of our starters. So, it's like,
Yeah, there wasn't any big plays yesterday. That was one thing. And actually, probably that big play was the small little pass to McCaffrey where he got the yardage after the catch. That was really early. I think it was on the first drive for Carolina. That might have been actually the longest play of the day.
Yeah, it was actually kind of a boring game in that way because there was no explosive plays except I think the Saints blocked a field goal or something. But, yeah. It didn't matter because we just couldn't get anything going.
Michael Hamm asked me how I like standing. When I walked in here and saw, the famous background and the famous space where Dustin does his videos, I was like, you stand for your videos? Like, serious question. And he was like, oh, yeah. I was like, man, that's why he's got Saquon Barkley type quads. You guys got to see him in person. And I'm like, man, my videos are, like I said, my videos are too long. If I stood for my videos,
yeah,
I'd have to take multiple breaks in between.
That's why all my videos are 8 or 9 minutes. That's all I've got.
Just standing here. Trevor, I see your comment.
You could move to the couch too in there, Steve. Just saying, if you wanted to sit.
Yeah, good. I'm good right now, though. I'm actually staying stretched out. Trevor says keep buying NBA. I know the NBA market is going up. Actually, Dustin and I, we were talking about that right before we went live. How a lot of players are starting to see a big boost. So keep buying NBA, but you may not want to buy some of the guys that have already seen really huge spikes in their prices. Luka Blue Velocity was one that I just we just noticed that we were watching a video before we went live. That was a card I was looking to buy a little while back, and I was super surprised at the price that card is now hitting, Luka Blue Velocity. So some stuff has gone up to the point to where I am now, for the value for my dollar, I'm out on some players at the moment. You guys know how I was on Tatum. I'm kind of out on him, and I'm looking for, maybe players that haven't moved as much as some of the others. And Dustin, you're not much in on the modern basketball at the moment. You're really in on the Hall of Fame autos and game used and jersey stuff. If you want to talk about some of that stuff, and we'll talk about some of our pickups and the Raleigh show as well.
Yeah, I have been doing a lot of the kind of the legends, the Hall of Fame kind of mem cards and autos. I did buy kind of in the offseason, I did buy a PSA 10 Tatum Optic Holo, and I did get a True Gem Mint 9.5 Optic Holo for Tatum. And I've got some I picked up a couple more Booker rookies. So I've done some modern NBA. I wouldn't say I've done a boatload of it, but yeah, I've got some irons in the fire for modern NBA stuff. I know like MPJ and some of the other guys that are more prospects. I haven't been buying those as much. But yeah, I've just been focused more on kind of the memorabilia, the patch autos, like cool patch autos, and not even necessarily, just retired Hall of Famers. I also picked up, a nice Cornerstones Durant auto a little while ago. So I'm not against getting modern players necessarily. It just depends on the price, depends on who the player is, just like all of us do, stacking up kind of all the, just taking a look at the whole picture and buying that way.
Mm-hmm. So Brian, our Bucks fan and our Suns fan, says keep buying Brady. I mean, that's definitely a good thought, and that's definitely a safe thought. However, you got to have some deep pockets if you want to keep buying Brady cards. So, yeah, I don't think there's a thing where people question whether or not Brady is a good investment. It's just a matter not if you have the means to actually be able to buy Brady cards.
I did also pick up an autogram rookie card, just showing a little bit of my range. So I've been doing a lot of like, the mem auto stuff, but also that's a 1950 Bowman autogram rookie and a PSA 6. I was really excited to pick that one up. So yeah, I'm a little bit all over the place, but for the most part, I will say though, I've been going pretty heavy on football, but not necessarily new stuff. It's vintage or it's auto. I showed Steve, I got a Steve Largent National Treasures auto, patch card, game worn, stuff like that. So yeah.
Bradley's looking to buy some Ja Morant rookie cards. Ja Morant's actually one of the guys. He's starting to go up, but he hasn't seen the surge that a lot of players have had. So maybe he is, if you have the budget, he is maybe probably one of the players that you still have a chance where you've missed the basement, but you haven't missed the window. I like to use that term. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, you've already missed out on this player. You don't always necessarily miss out on a player. You may have missed the basement. Doesn't mean you missed the window, because there's still, you could buy now and probably still have some room, meat on the bone, for lack of a better term. And Jaws, he's popular. People in the hobby are, they like him and things like that.
Yeah, the one thing I've been looking at too, just to see if there's any sort of value or deals, so to speak, are like, some of these new players, whether it be like a Devin Booker or Giannis or, some of these up and coming players, not necessarily like rookie autos or rookie patches or whatever, but like second, third year, like national treasures, type stuff. And I have not, I'll be honest, like with even with the up and coming players, it's funny to me how I can get like Kevin Durant, patch autos for less than some of these younger guys. It's kind of shocking, like, and I'm not saying for everything, but I'm just saying, I've been looking at like Devin Booker and I've been looking at some of these other guys. I've been looking at Steph Curry autos. Steph Curry autos are expensive. They're already pretty expensive. So yeah, just trying to find where, perceived value, so to speak.
Yeah. And Vic says the NBA market is going nuts. He says the base stuff isn't moving, but the colored and numbered stuff, the auctions are getting really high. Yeah, like this, and they don't have to be numbered, and they don't have to be the super duper rare stuff. We're seeing hollows moving, lots of color match. People have preached color match, not just myself. We've talked about aesthetically appealing cards that look good, where a card may not necessarily be as rare as another card, but it looks better. Ultimately, aesthetics is going to win to rarity on a lot of cards that have multiple parallels out there. Now, I'm not talking about one-of-ones or RPAs and things like that, but I'm talking about if you have an orange numbered out of 200 as opposed to a green numbered out of 500, but it's on a Celtics card, the green is going to be more appealing, and there's not enough disparity or difference between, the rarity of the card to where the color that actually clashes with the player or the card, in my opinion, is going to draw more value than something that is more aesthetically appealing as far as a color match goes.
Yeah.
He said Kyler Murray, the MVP, he's looking good. Trigger finger's got a long one here. Let's see. It looks like it's going to be a good one too. Let's see. Since we're both picking up autographs more recently, are the autos worth more early in a player's career, when he's with his main team, later in a player's career, or during a more significant season? Any other qualifiers that matter?
I think for me, it's a lot of it has to do with the set. So if it's Exquisite or National Treasures, if it's more of kind of a luxury brand, that's where I'm really, for me personally, where I'm trying to find value is I'll look at what a hobby box costs. So if we're talking about like 2010 Exquisite, I'm just throwing out a random set, year. What I'll do is just kind of like, what are the boxes cost compared to the singles? And then, is there, and then raw compared to graded and, all that. Mm-hmm. I'm also okay, especially if it's numbered. I don't care if it's a BGS 6, with it. I care more about a 10 auto than I do about the actual card grade. So it can be a BGS 1, but if it's got a 10 auto, I'm kidding about the 1, but you understand my point. Yeah. That's just more important to me. And just trying to, and then just comparing them across other sets, and that's how I do it.
How about the auto grade is definitely more important. I'll buy like a BGS graded on card auto and at like a 7 or something, as long as that auto is a 10. That when people buy those types of cards, they're buying them for the auto, not necessarily the card. Also to that, he asked about, being on a different team, the main team, the team later in the career. And this is kind of actually will apply to a card that you just picked up, the Tony Dorsett, where Tony Dorsett is known for being a Dallas Cowboy. However, you just picked up a flawless on-card patch auto in his Denver uniform. Now, and we talked about this between the two of us, it's going to, if he was in his Cowboys uniform, it would touch, it would probably be more liquid. You're probably going to you're going to find a lot more people in that Dallas Cowboy market that are going to be looking for that card. But because it's probably only his only auto on a Denver Broncos card, or one of very few, somebody looking for him specifically in a Denver Broncos uniform is probably going to draw a premium. So it's going to have a little smaller of a demographic when it comes to remove it. However, you're probably going to be able to name your price when you find the right buyer.
Yeah, and it was a really good price point, so it just made sense. Yeah, I agree.
Awesome card. And plus, he was on Tecmo Bowl with Denver, and that means a lot. All right, so J-My says, what's your finishing move, the PFD or the off-centered slam? Because everybody knows that my finishing move is the pump and dump. The pump and dump.
The pump and the dump,
that's
right?
Become my finishing move. That's become the joke, although I'm not – I don't like that joke, but it's a joke that people come up with. And I'm like, man, guys, you need to stop saying that, because then people are going to think that's what I do. But it does sound funny. Let's see. Brian says he has deep pockets in reference to the Tom Brady. Buy me some Brady's, Brian, man. Buy your favorite YouTubers some Tom Brady stuff.
Yeah. Question for Brian: were you a buy Brady guy before he went to your Bucks? Probably not.
Trigger wants to touch on Carson Wentz. Speaking of the basement, Carson Wentz was sacked at least 3 times for the 12th consecutive game yesterday. This is
That
the
guy,
third
man.
longest streak in NFL history, dating back to the late 70s, 13 games straight. Second in 19 games straight is all the NFL record. Looks like Wentz will break some sort of record soon. I think he broke his ankles yesterday, actually, or he sprained both ankles. Did he sprain both of them?
I thought that the Colts had a decent line, though. They've got Quentin Nelson on the one side.
Yeah, I feel like they have a really good run blocking line, and that's a team that wants to run the ball. And I don't think they were able to run the ball yesterday. Let's make no bones about it. The Rams defense is super legit. So they put up 24 yesterday on the Rams. So I know Detroit, they played the Rams last week and put up some points on them too, but the Rams are still a super legit defense. So I'm not making excuses for Carson Wentz. I'm just saying that's probably why they couldn't run the ball. Let's see what we got.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Thought I lost you. To answer Paul Veldboom, what did you pay for the door set, Dustin? I paid $165 for it. It was stickered at $200, and then Steve, we were buying multiple cards from the same dealer. Steve had picked up one, and I picked up a few, so we were able to work a deal with him.
Okay, I see the comment there. Just scrolling through them because I have to scroll through them on my phone. It's a little different than seeing them on my laptop. So Vic says, what do you guys think about the future of the Select brand? Seems to me the older stuff is suffering due to the high pop counts. The older stuff, due to the high pop counts of the new stuff, it's not like the older stuff is going up in pop counts. The older stuff is suffering slightly because people who are just getting introduced to Select aren't necessarily going back and being like, okay, now I need to get tons of Select product. Look, right in front of me. But I was going to go grab my cards that I picked up yesterday. But anyway, back onto the Select. It actually, in my mind, if older Select is going to see dips, then it probably makes for an opportunity because that stuff is still going to be more rare. People will realize it. Like we said, the hobby's getting smarter every day. That's why people aren't liking the new Select stuff because they are realizing it's way more mass produced. There's a lot of extra junk in it, junk parallels and things like that. And maybe in the beginning, people will sour on older Select. For someone who likes Select and that believes in the product, the older stuff, to me that actually offers an opportunity because I don't think it'll be a situation where it suffers in the long term.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's been talked to death, kind of how they've kind of shifted on Select. And hey, for those people that aren't really a big fan of the YouTubers, that is something that I feel like a lot of us YouTubers have talked about to the benefit, I think, of people that are new and might not understand, 2020 Select compared to previous years where they've switched and now it's a lot more overproduced. But in the long run, I don't think that it's going to hurt, the older stuff as much as people think in the long run. I think it's going to be okay. Because again, it's just, the older stuff just wasn't printed in the same way that this new stuff is.
So Ziggy says, better show, Dustin Brad or Dustin Steve. I'm going to plead the fifth on this one. Plead the fifth. I'll leave it up to you guys. Dexflow. Is this Dexflow? Dexflow Toys? Dexflow? Did he rename?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Okay, so nice to see Northeast Rattlesnake live. Dustin, why aren't you buying up Arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
About to get the NBA Jam version. Yeah, those one-ups are cool. I'll have to look into that.
Speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dustin and I defeated Shredder the other night. Duel. Well, I was Michelangelo and you were Leonardo.
Yeah.
And we went through and beat the game.
Yeah, we've got some of those old games around here. It's good stuff.
So Caesar says, are we going to the Vegas card show in October? pretty much a no for you, I'm going to guess. I haven't heard you talk about it unless you're keeping it a secret. And a no for me. I'm going on a family vacation in October. I might be able to catch a show late October if there's one around somewhere closer to me. Even maybe a Boston show or something. But going to Vegas in October is out of the equation for myself.
Yeah, not going to the one in October, but I do plan to go to the one at the end of January, the Mint Collectible or the Mint Collective, or it's the one with IMG and Collectible. I get all these mixed up. The Collectible Fractional Share Company, and then IMG Academy, the sports agency, are putting that one on, and I do want to go to that one. It's at the end of January in Vegas.
Trigger says everyone is making excuses for Wentz. He's the real life Glass Joe. I don't know if that's in reference to me saying that the Rams have a really good defense. I'm a Jonathan Taylor person, and he's on my fantasy team.
So I thought you said Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No, Jonathan Taylor. So yeah. So the Rams were able to stop the run yesterday. I know that for a fact because he didn't score me any fantasy points. Wentz, yeah, definitely. And before the season started, Trigger Finger, that I was buying Jacob Eason stuff. And that was all about me saying that I thought that Carson Wentz was soft, for lack of a better term, and that out of all the quarterbacks to get injured, he was at the top of my list of somebody that would probably miss some time. Back here. Comments go by really fast. So Global says he's finding it difficult to sell his modern NBA slabs over $1,000. We don't have shows over here and really don't like to sell on eBay. Any advice? I don't know if you use My Slabs. I like My Slabs. People go to My Slabs for deals. So modern NBA for $1,000 on My Slabs, I'm not sure how that will move. If the stuff is moving, if people are buying it on eBay, however, though, the smart buyers will go to My Slabs and look for it. And I do know high-end cards do move. I've seen LeBron and Michael Jordan rookies and stuff sell on My Slabs. So it's not like people won't buy $1,000 card on My Slabs. It's just all about how many eyes see the card and what the card actually is, who it is, what the card is. It's popular, things like that. And then Michael Hamm, it doesn't matter what line is in front of Wentz. Gets hurt flying a kite. Anything you would like to add to the the selling, maybe a platform or something to sell modern NBA?
Yeah, I haven't been selling anything that big. I sell, honestly, it's been more of like $10, $15, $20 cards, just stuff laying around that I don't, that doesn't mean as much to me that I might have bought a couple years ago. That's the type of stuff that I've been selling. So nothing over $1,000, but so yeah, it's mainly just kind of, eBay, I guess a little bit of ComC, but yeah, I mean, I would say eBay is probably my only selling platform, but honestly, I'm not selling a ton. I've just been kind of accumulating, which is probably not great. I probably should be selling a little bit more, but I've got it really refined now. My search, I feel like I'm, more like definitely as focused as I've ever been as far as what I'm buying, what I want. So, it's more of just kind of accumulating the stuff that I really like. But I do, not that I don't need to sell stuff, because I do. I probably need to sell some stuff as well.
And like you said, you don't get out to any. He says he doesn't get out to many shows. I do know modern basketball was popular at the Raleigh show, and we haven't really talked about the show yet. You did a video on it, but we'll talk about the show. At least from my perspective, there's a little bit of everything. Like I said, vintage, modern basketball was popular. We surprisingly for us were able to find some autos and mem cards and stuff, which I didn't know what to expect, and you kind of really didn't expect that kind of stuff. No. Not to the extent that we were able to find it. And there was a lot of people there. It was actually a good turnout, and I heard people who set up there to sell regularly talking about how it's like the biggest turnout that they've had at that show since they've been having that show.
Yeah, no, that was really odd, because I didn't plan on really buying much of anything, if anything at all, because I had been to that show before, and not that it's not a bad show at all. It's a good show, but compared to larger shows, it's a lot of raw cards compared to slabs. You go to the National, it's a zillion slabs everywhere. This is more kind of a mixed bag, but a lot of rock cards. But the thing that was odd and that Steve and I were finding is like those Hall of Fame patch auto stuff that we collect, that we're buying. That was a lot of what was there. A lot. It was like they read our mind or something. Like it was like the perfect, show for some of the stuff that we have been picking up. So that was kind of cool. But at the same time, I wasn't really prepared for that.
Yeah. I'm actually going to grab the 3 cards that I picked up because I haven't shown mine yet.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll run yours to you. Weird how that
Yes,
works.
Steve. Yeah. I was actually really jealous of the cards that Steve got. I'm not holding it against him. I'm not upset or anything. It's just no. And actually, he got one. He got one that I saw. Thanks, man. He got one that I was eyeballing, and then I was like, okay, I've got to show Steve this because I didn't have the cash for it. I'd already kind of spent my show money, but I was like, man, I got to show this to Steve. And then we got separated. I found him again. He's like, oh, check out this pickup I got. And it was the exact card that I had seen that I was like, oh man, I got to show him that. That is a sweet one. Did you find it? It's so weird doing this in the same room. Same, like this is different. Yeah, I'll take a look at some of these comments. It's like when you're kids and you're trading cards and you you get cards stolen from you from your friends. That's basically what happened. The card he picked up, I wanted it, so I just accidentally hid it in my stuff. Oh, I can't. I'm like sitting here trying to click on the comments so that I can post them, and I can't do it because it's not my live stream. All right, I'm trying to look at these. Yesterday, I sold a regular patch card with sticker out of a different player added onto it just to see if I could fool a well-known dealer who's been in the hobby for over 30 years. Success. Maybe I was the one that got fooled. Who knows? Criminal mind. I went to a wedding once in Ohio. They served watered down beer. Never again. Pick up any other similar stuff to the door set, game used patch stuff. Yeah, actually, I've got some of my stuff here. So one set that I really like, I've got the door set here. I don't know if the lighting is very good, but for those that maybe didn't see the door set, so it's flawless. It's got a nice 3-color patch. It's an on-card auto. And it's another thing that kind of stuck out. It's a thick card, and it's a true gem 9.5. 9.5s all the way around, and then you've got a 10 auto, if you guys can see it. Yeah. So, yeah, Tony Dorsett, maybe not for everybody, but I just thought that was kind of a unique one, and it was stickered at 200, ended up getting it at 165. And then another one that I picked up, I negotiated this down too, but this is first-year National Treasures. This was done by Don Russ Playoff, as opposed to Panini. So this is before Panini had it. 2007, I believe, but it's Elway, game used patch, and then you've got the auto there. But kind of a cool little holographic type card, and I got this one for 150. It's numbered out of 15. But yeah, if you go back to some of the older sets, whether it be Upper Deck SP or National Treasure, some of the earlier stuff are exquisite. There's a lot of really cool game used options.
Yes, I'm back. I can catch up with the comments a little bit.
Yeah, did you find your stuff?
Yeah, I went around out there looking all for them. I even went to the other downstairs and everything, and they were actually in here.
I'm glad my dog did not get a hold of them.
So you went over your pickups. I picked up there was one card that people probably saw in your video already, and this is how all over the place I am. I have all different sports, retired players, new players. This is a modern basketball card. This is an immaculate RPA of Colin Sexton. Again, just a little gamble, numbered out of 99. Little on card, just a little gamble on somebody who might get a little heat. So for the price, I feel like it wasn't that bad to possibly get a flip out of that. The Joe Namath, which is going into my collection, flawless on card patch. This one's numbered out of 25. Another really clean card. And then I got the and the price tag is on here, is in the way, so we'll take it out. But this was my favorite one, and this was the first one that I picked up. This was the Upper Deck dual signatures, Cal Ripken Jr. and Ernie Banks, numbered out of 15. And the auto grade is a 10 on this, which was the big kicker for me. Even though it's graded in an 8, this thick stock card numbered out of 15. Cal Ripken, my favorite all time, with Ernie Banks, another player that I like. I didn't get to see him play, but he is one of the older players that I like. And just like 2 GOAT infielder autos, to me, it was like and the price on that was $265. So $265 for this to put into my PC. I couldn't pass it. There was no way I was leaving the show without that card. I honestly would have probably paid the sticker for it, which was $300. I definitely would have paid the sticker for it, but you know, got a deal. And that's the beauty of being able to go to a show and negotiate.
Yeah, it was the busiest Raleigh show I've ever been to. Not that I've been to loads of them, but I've been to maybe 3 other ones over the last 12 months or so. And this one was the busiest. So I think too, when you think about just kind of like as a whole, you know, the hobby being kind of, you know, prices being down from where they were in February, for example, there's still a lot of people interested. There's still a lot of people that are out there doing it in different ways. So I thought that was pretty cool to see.
The over under is 5 on this bet. Steve, how many pictures of Brad does Dustin have in his house? I think you put them all. He must have put them all away before I arrived, or covered them up, or actually these are all photos of Brad on the other side. He just spins them around. He just spins them around for his video.
What's odd though is when you see all the pictures of me in Brad's apartment, all the eyes are cut out of my pictures, and it's weird. He puts like different like hair on my. I don't know. It's a little creepy, but.
And we got Roman Sports Card in the house, who I did meet at the show. Really cool dude. I got to bump into him. He picked up an awesome Zion card. I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil it. Maybe he wants to put it out on Instagram or something, but nice Zion. And also gave me a gift package, which I'm going to open in my video when I show my show pickups. I got some stuff arriving in the mail while I was gone. And also the gift package that Roman gave me, I'm going to actually do a video showing all that stuff off. Roman, thank you for that stuff. And then we got E-Man in the house. Dustin, there is an E-Man sighting.
Yeah.
Dustin was actually asking me about E-Man. He was worried about you a little bit, Tony. Said you hadn't been popping up much lately. I said, I guarantee that we'll see E-Man tonight, and he'll be talking about Bowl. You did not let me down. You did not let me down. E-Man always coming through for me from the beginning. Appreciate that. Lions are over the Packers right now, 17-14.
Let's go Lions.
Says, what's up? Yeah, so we got Brian is giving us the update on the game. Lions have the lead, 17-14. So Packers have already put up 14 on the Lions. They were only able to put up 3 on that monstrous Saints defense last week. But
that's what happens when you don't have Marshawn Lattimore and you don't have CJ Gardner-Johnson, guys, or Marcus Davenport. I can just keep on naming off names, but I think you get the point. We'll be back. We will be back.
Sean beat me in Dakota's fantasy league. I knew that I had lost my ESPN league. That's the only ESPN league that I'm in. That's the worst league I did in yesterday. And I don't like my team at all in that league. I told Neo after I drafted, I was like, man, I really don't like my team. And he was like, why? Your team actually looks pretty good. But to me, I didn't like that team. I've got 2 plain backs like Zeke and Antonio Gibson. They're just kind of the kind of backs that just kind of like chug along and don't really do anything fancy for you. So I'm looking to have a bad season in that league. I'll probably be the whipping post in that league. But you know, you can't win all of them, especially considering I have different team in every single league. Trigger, what about color matches on auto cards? I assume that doesn't matter much. I've seen some pink and green Spectra cards, for example, with the auto in the same color as the card. Yeah, some of it's ugly, especially when you get into like some of the crazy colors, like Russell Wilson signing in like neon green. I don't know. To me, it just looks like neon gel pen that you would, like the girl that sits next to you in elementary school, has in her Trapper Keeper. But
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that aesthetically it matters how it looks. I think depending on again, like the set might not matter as much as just how the card looks overall, and what like some of these auto mem cards, like I might think it looks terrible, whereas someone else might think it looks amazing. So I think that it's just going to depend on the beauty's in the eye of the beholder with some of these cards, some of these like auto mem cards.
now there are some auto cards that I will say the autos don't look very good on them because they may actually be a swatch, and the swatch is actually the auto is actually signed on the cloth.
I've seen
Sometimes
that
you have the patch in the auto. Sometimes you have it where the patch is signed and the ink runs on those, or it absorbs in those. The same with some of the leather patches, like some of the National Treasures Hall of Fame stuff, where I have a Dan Marino actually, where it's a piece of leather from one of the white Hall of Fame footballs that they signed, and the ink just bleeds in those. It runs because that leather doesn't hold the Sharpie marker in place like paper would, because leather actually is absorbent. So it kind of bleeds in those, and then again on a lot of the jerseys. And when companies grade that, they don't necessarily take that into account. I have an Alexander Ovechkin RPA where he signed on the patch, and it just doesn't look as clean, and the auto grade on it is a 9 because of that. So they grade that still. They still expect a perfect auto, even regardless of what the signature is being put on, whether it's a piece of wood from a floor, because you see game used floors, game used bats, anything. Kind of the on card autos are kind of just look more crisp. Let's see. Paul says, why are half the signed swatch cards cut in the middle of the auto? Incredibly frustrating. So like I just said, I guess, where some of the swatches that are signed with the auto on the side, and they're kind of cut like that. Sometimes I don't think they're cut as much as I think that the cardboard overlay covers it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, some of those look kind of strange. It's like, oh, this is cool. It's like a signed patch, but then like it just looks awful.
There was one yesterday, or one at the show we were looking at, and I looked at it. I said, it's a shame that the auto goes underneath of the cardboard. And it was like something was signed like a patch or something. And it was, the whole auto was on there. You could tell, but the way that the card was designed, when they laid the patch into the center of the card and put the top piece on, kind of like a sandwich, they covered up, a piece like the last letter of the autograph. See, does centering matter on the autos? Almost bought a card that was 90-10 auto centering to talk him out of it. So you mean like the auto is not in the center of the card or not in the center of the sticker? I mean, sticker autos, you have to be careful that someone doesn't sign off of the sticker. A lot of times people have big signatures and multiple letters will be cut off on the sticker because the player thinks that they're signing just they sign the whole thing. When you peel a sticker away, it leaves behind the border of the sticker, and a lot of times pieces of the signature are left behind on that border. I don't know if you mean where on the card it's signed, like say for instance, if I pull the Namath up, like you mean if the Namath was signed more so up here or over here. I'm not sure. As long as the autograph is complete and not smudged or smeared or have extra ink dots where maybe they accidentally touched the card with the pen one extra time or something, then I don't think it really matters. It would be the centering on the card itself that I think plays the part there, not necessarily where the autograph is located, as long as you have a full clear signature. And he's making fun of Will. So he's looking at Luis Robert that had an off-center auto, looked bad to his eye. But he's not picky like Trigger. And then Trigger says is almost off to the side, looks weird like Will. And we're all caught up on comments. So we have gone for 45 minutes. I'm not going to be able to go to full 2 hours tonight. I can tell already by the energy on my phone. And it is a little bit like a sauna in here, if you can't tell, but it's all good. I'm doing this for the team, burning some calories on a live stream. And
you can turn the fan on if you want, Steve. I mean, it might be a little loud, but
that's okay. I had to do the live stream from in here though, because what's the chances people ever see me do a live stream from the PFD camera room again? And then Adam says Dustin won't. I'm not sure.
Can we have some more context? These are like the random messages that Steve and I get where it's just Lucas Silver. That's it. Oh, Dustin won't let you charge your phone.
Oh,
okay,
Dustin won't let me charge my phone.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Let's see, Mike. I've got an iPhone. Steve's got a Droid. So
yeah. And let's see, Michael. Surprised more companies don't keep trying more visually appealing signatures with different units and styles of how the auto is presented. Panini Black gave it a go this year. Nice stuff. Yeah, and I mean, just the quality of higher end product is going down. You almost don't want to call it use quality in the same sentence as some of the Panini products. Doesn't work, but I guess that's the way I got to talk about it. But even your high end stuff, National Treasures boxes are like $3,000 for basketball. To get a card that's could be damaged out of the pack. I mean, that stuff comes dinged out of the packs. I mean, they don't do a very good job with those thick stock cards, which are very condition sensitive to begin with. And then you take the wrapper off and you ding a corner. Autos. Now, Panini used the excuse because of COVID, they had to go with a lot of sticker autos. So I don't know how long they can use that excuse for, but as long as it's convenient for them and cheaper to do, that's what they'll do. And as long as people keep buying it, they'll also continue to do it. And people will complain about it, but they'll buy it. And then, to get like a sticker auto, and some people really like sticker autos. So people who collect sticker autos, that's not me bashing your cards or your collection or anything. I have sticker autos myself. I don't prefer them, but it's not like I'm going to say, hey, your cards are crap if they're sticker autos, because I will collect them myself. Sometimes it's what you can get. I just have a preference. I believe when you're buying such a high-end product, though, they should do a little bit more work to make sure you're getting a quality card.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the Panini Black stuff. I have a couple of those, the autos, kind of the mem auto cards.
We got Will and Trigger going back and forth about the card. One of them thinks it looks good. One of them thinks it looks funny. You guys could be talking about me and Dustin. One of us looks good. One of us looks funny, or we both look funny. Yeah, I don't know if we got any likes, guys. I haven't said it or anything, but if you haven't, go ahead and put that in. And Eric is like, go Panthers. Eric coming in with the Go Panthers. I think Eric.
Was Eric one of those guys standing in front of us?
I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Eric might be from the New England area. I might be wrong. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry if I am wrong. But maybe he's just saying, maybe he's really a Panthers fan, or maybe he's just saying that to take a dig at Dustin. I'm going to say it's definitely one or the other.
Very few Panthers fans. So, actual Panthers fans. And the stadium was half full. It's funny. The music that they were pumping through the speakers was louder than the crowd noise on third down. Just saying.
Yeah, they were pumping crowd noise. It was kind of like people talking about how the WWE is losing fans and they pump crowd noise in on their Monday night lives, so that it sounds like there's people there. They were definitely pumping crowd noise in. It was mixed in with the music, like it was crowd noise mixed in with music, and it made it sound like people were really cheering, and they weren't. And Adam says, any thoughts on the Padres imploding? Which we talked about this morning. I was watching the video. I was watching it on John Boy also. Tatis and Machado kind of got into it. I don't think it's an implosion as much as it is. I mean, Manny Machado, he wants to win. He's not as young as Tatis. In that argument, I think Machado was correct. However, maybe he could have handled it a little bit differently. However, he's super competitive and passionate and wanted to get his point across. I mean, he was telling Tatis in the dugout, "You're the best player in the world. You're the best player in the major leagues. Everybody knows it. We don't need you getting thrown out of the game. We're in a playoff wild card race, and we don't need our best player getting thrown out of the game." So yeah, he was yelling at him, but at the same time, he's also complimenting him by saying, "You're the best player on our team. You're the best player in the league." So it's not like he was saying, "You struck out. You're trash. How dare you strike out? We're in the middle of a playoff race." He was more so worried about, you can't get yourself thrown out because you're the most important part of our team and we need you to win. So to me, that's not an implosion. It came off more like a big brother, little brother type thing, actually, in my eyes.
Yep.
And it could light a fire under him as well. And a player like Tatis, who is a little bit cocky and is really good, and it's hard to say this about Machado because he was the same way, and maybe he's learned from that. He was cocky as well in Baltimore and had attitude issues, but he's learned from his mistakes, and he's the type of player that can teach Tatis, "Hey, learn from your mistakes. Learn from me right now because I made a lot of the same mistakes like you did when I was younger." Like a mentor type thing. Let's see. Jags or Panthers moved to London from Beavis Cards.
Yeah. Steve and I did watch a few minutes of Beavis and Butthead last night, just for nostalgia's sake.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was funny, too. Oh, it used to be that way, Dustin. Such a shame. I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
Yeah, I think he's saying because I was saying there's no Panthers fans in this, in the stadium and stuff. And yeah, I mean, honestly, the Panthers fans are the nicest in the division. I used to live in Florida, and I used to go to Bucs Saints games all the time. I've never been to a Falcons game. That would probably be pretty rowdy. But Bucs fans were pretty rowdy. Panthers fans, though, they're actually really nice. And I was talking a lot of smack at the game. Steve was backing me up, but it's like the nicest fans. They really are.
Yeah, it was fun because we were able to talk smack, and they didn't get it bent out of shape. They didn't try to, they talked enough smack. It was just enough fun smack talk where they talked back a little bit, but it was super fun. And even at the end of the game, just chatting with them, talking about the game afterwards. All the fans around us were really cool, and actually we had quite a few Saints fans around us too, like that weren't with us. Now they all kind of dipped out like early fourth quarter.
Yeah, they scurried out. We stayed and felt the pain all the way till about 3 minutes left in the game. So yeah, we hung in there.
Yeah. Ryan says everything's going up because of Biden's inflation. Will referencing Beavis and Butthead here. And Beavis Cards talking about Jake Delhomme. I saw a Jake Delhomme jersey yesterday. There was someone wearing a Delhomme jersey at the tailgating. And
Delhomme's an ex-Saint as well.
Yeah. And Muhsin Muhammad was at the game getting honored as being an all-time great Panther. So that's another throwback from the past that I remember watching in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I did wear a Saints shirt to the game, Trigger. Yeah, I don't hide from it. I don't go neutral or anything. I wear my stuff. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't wearing Saints head to toe with my, face painted gold and black or anything, but I was wearing a Saints shirt.
I saw a question. I think it was Simdius put it in, talking about the comparison of raw cards and stuff at the show, but it went by so fast before I could, here it is. Okay, what type of comparison of raw card prices to graded at the show? So prices, card prices to graded. I didn't really look for a differential in prices because I don't know if I saw a lot of the same graded cards also in raw form. It seemed like most of the cards I saw graded were graded, and the ones I saw raw were raw. I didn't see okay, I'm just going to use this for instance. I didn't see raw base Zion prisms and graded base prism Zions. I couldn't compare on that level.
Yeah, it was weird, and it was almost like kind of how the hobby has moved away from base. It was like no one brought their base cards. It was like everybody brought, and not even necessarily expensive parallels, but it's just like anything that was numbered, auto, mem, some sort of a numbered card, something that wasn't base it felt like that's everything that was put out. It just felt like that, I mean, there was, like Steve was saying, I mean, there was some like Zion PSA 10, but not much at all. I don't know if I saw one Luka Prism PSA 10 rookie. Did you, Steve?
I did not. In fact, well, Luka wasn't a player I was really looking for, so I'm sure there was lots of Lukas around. The only Luka that really caught my eye that I remember seeing was a optic blue velocity, and it was raw. Now, I didn't look at it. I didn't look it over. It was actually in Kenny Fornos's case, in his showcase, and I think he picked that up from Roman's Cards, who I was talking to earlier, because they did a deal for the Zion, which I think included the Luka. People were asking for Zion there. Like, again, it's been repetitive over a lot of the shows that I've been to recently, where people are asking for modern basketball players. They're asking for Ja Morant. They're asking for Zion, but you don't see them for sale that much. I think people want them right now. I decided not to take my case with me because it was loaded with all the ultra modern basketball I've been buying, and I really don't want to move that stuff. I'm probably looking to move that stuff in like 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So I was like, I don't think I want to take this to the show and move it to dealers for dealer comps. It just doesn't make sense to me. The only way I would move this stuff right now is for full value trade. So I actually only took a handful of maybe 5 higher end cards with me and left my ultra modern basketball back. But my Zion BGS 10 red prism I did take and had multiple people interested. However, I planned, if I'm going to move that, it'll probably be in Philly. Give me another week to sit on that.
I saw a comment that I messed up there. Let me go back up. But it was Aaron Brooks is solid too. Yeah, trigger finger. The first Saints game that I went to live in person was in 2003. The Saints played the Giants on like Sunday Night Football, and they won like 35-3 with Aaron Brooks. And that was the cell phone game where Joe Horn caught the touchdown pass and then whipped out the cell phone in the back of the end zone and got fined for it. And then I think years later, Michael Thomas did the same deal the last, a couple years ago or whatever. So it made me think of that game.
So it worked. We were like, we hope we get at least one person that's weirded out by the background switch.
Steve just took over my house. I'm in a hotel room.
You actually look like you're in where I usually shoot my live streams with like no lighting and you can't see anything in the background.
I'm in the dark. Yeah.
Big Ball Striker says, Steve, Philly show this weekend. Yes, I'll be there the 25th and the 26th. So I'll be in fairly early Saturday. I'm staying the night at the casino there in the hotel, and I'll be there most of the day Sunday, probably all of the day Sunday. So if you're out there, either Instagram me, or if you just see me, if you can't find me, Instagram me, and we'll get up if you're going to be there. We did not see any Kerry Collins jerseys, but we talked about Kerry Collins.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
So Justin says, can I tell you more about my process for patch autos? I think I said it in a video that I'm buying raw to grade. I find with the patch autos, more of it is out there raw to buy. So, and even if you search like eBay, and this also, Dustin, the stuff that you're buying, the 2006 National Treasures, you find way more of that stuff raw than you do graded. So it's kind of in a situation where you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Yeah, keep talking, Steve, because I wanted to share. It shocked me because I went to go see. I was looking up cards in that particular set, that 2006 or is it 2007? Mm-hmm. National Treasures football.
And also,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, also with these auto mem cards or auto patch cards, I think with the way that the grading company prices and fees are right now, they're a good buy raw because they're actually cards that are worth submitting. If you want to pay $150 to PSA or whatever you want to pay to BGS, again, Neo put a video out about their turnaround times right now. But I mean, I guess you could pay for the express service with them, or even if you just want to SGC something like the Joe Namath I picked up. If I just want to SGC slab this for $30, they don't add an extra fee for an auto grade. I know it's SGC, but at least I have it in a slab. At least I have it in a slab and it's not raw. And I believe on these types of cards, because there's not a lot of them graded on the market, it's worth grading them. It's worth buying them raw, especially when you can buy it in person. You get to look at them. It's easy to read the corners and stuff on these. It's usually the surface that's going to hurt you. And again, the grade on the actual card, to me, is more forgiving if you get a low grade. So that's why I don't mind that a little bit. If you get a card that you think looks like a 10, probably more than likely it's going to 9, just because these cards are really tough to grade. But the card stock, if you get a grade of 9 on these cards, they're pretty good. The important part is getting that auto graded. And maybe that's what you're talking about, the auto, because I did talk about that earlier, where you want a nice, clean, crisp auto. You don't want smudges. You don't want streaks. You don't want it signed off the card. You don't want it signed off of the sticker. And some players will go off even off the card. A letter will go off. And you want to look up multiple autographs. Sam Darnold is a guy who is notorious for not closing the last D in his name. So the D at the end of his name, if you look at a lot of his rookie autos, they all look the same and they look good. But every now and then you'll see where he didn't close up his D. And if they compare signatures and they're like, well, he didn't close his D up on this one. This is, and that sounds like I'm saying something bad, but that's something to look for. And I found that just because I was shopping flawless Sam Darnold cards preseason, and I bought a flawless, and I actually passed on another one because the autograph, the last D was incomplete in his name. And I just learned that by looking over multiple different autographs of himself.
Yeah, and football cards in general, if you're looking at pop reports, they're a lot lower in many cases. We were talking about, even just like as an example, could be any player, but Baker Mayfield, like 2018 Prism stuff, just not anywhere near as many out there as like the basketball comparison. I'm just throwing him out as an example, but the same goes for a lot of these older mem cards, like that 2007 playoff National Treasure set that I've been buying. There's just like, if you look up, I just looked up the main base set, which is 199 cards, I think. There's 139 total graded cards. Now, granted, on the PSA Pop Report, there's a bunch of different subsets. So there's more than 139 graded in total. But the point is it's just still nothing compared to what you would see, on the basketball side or baseball side. So for me personally, and I think that Steve might be doing for some cards, but I'm going to go to SGC with kind of a goal of just to get a 10 auto grade. And then, like I said, a lot of these cards are thicker card stock. So if it's an 8.5, I'm perfectly okay with that. Because it's in the case and it's 10 auto, and there's just not many graded cards.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are opting to SGC. I mean, look at us, we're talking about it right now. Maybe a year ago we wouldn't be talking about sending our auto patch cards to SGC, maybe some base stuff, things like that. And I know that there is a market, and if you play SGC right, there is a way that you can make profit on it. But even on some of your nicer cards, if you don't want to pay $150 to PSA or express service to BGS, and you want to pay $30, even if it's for lack of a better term, a raw card review, maybe you get it back in SGC and you get a 1010 on it, and you're like, I paid $30, I got a 1010. Now I want to snap it and see what BGS or PSA says. At least you're paying $30 to get a professional opinion. And if you're not able to get the market value out of it that you want, at least you have options. But yeah, we're over an hour now. Probably going to wrap up, guys. I know we normally go longer. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a stream while I'm waiting for my airplane tomorrow or something, just to touch base with everybody. And but we're probably going to call this soon. Anybody got any last minute comments? I know I didn't get to all of them, so when I say last minute, you guys might be saying, "Hey, you skipped mine." But I don't know. Okay, so we got a Lando question coming in now. So,
Callahan auto cards. Love it.
Callahan Auto Parts. Okay, so we're talking about Tommy Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be Callahan Auto Parts. Lando Calrissian and Lando Norris, or Cobra Kai Dojo, Robin Ventura, and Jesse Ventura. So is Cobra Kai Dojo with Robin Ventura and Jesse Ventura, or Tab Cola? Stanley Morgan and Morgana the Kissing Bandit. I remember Stanley Morgan from the Patriots. Okay, so Callahan Auto Parts is with Lando and Lando Norris. Okay, so that's the company. So we have.
I'm going Callahan Auto Parts, Lando Calrissian.
Okay, so we got Callahan Auto Parts. Let's see, Cobra Kai Dojo.
This is like a riddle.
Yeah, Robin Ventura and Jesse Ventura. So we're trying to choose our brand here: Callahan Auto Parts, Cobra Kai Dojo, or Tab Cola. And then we got our representatives from the businesses. We have Lando and Lando, Robin Ventura, Jesse Ventura, Stanley Morgan, and Morgana the Kissing Bandit. I'm going away from Tab Cola. Now, Cobra Kai Dojo. Now, Jesse Ventura was a Navy SEAL and a wrestler, and Jesse the Body was a governor of Minnesota. But Robin Ventura got beat up by Nolan Ryan. So, but is it really a shame to get beat up by Nolan Ryan? Because, I mean, Nolan Ryan was like a man's man. So,
another guy we should be looking at autos for. Yeah. Nolan Ryan, probably.
I'm going to go with the Cobra Kai Dojo. I'm just going to go with the Cobra Kai Dojo. Even though Robin Ventura, you know, he took his beating from Nolan Ryan, but he came back. He took his beat down. And Jesse Ventura is just a beast. So I'm going to go with the Cobra Kai Dojo.
Yeah, I'm going Callahan Auto Parts, Lando.
Right, so he says read the question first.
Yeah, this is like a riddle. Triggerfinger's got like 5 different.
Here's the question first.
All right.
Hitch a brand and 2-person team below. Or which brand and 2-person team below would you choose to work with? Bushwood Country Club, Seth Green and Mean Joe Green, or Schroeder Tuna, Lance Bass and Mike Trout, and then we get into the rest of them. So we missed our first 2 options are up here. I went with Cobra Kai Dojo. Let's see. Schooner Tuna is actually a pretty good one, but I think I'm going to stick with my pick. I think I had a pretty good reason behind it. Oh, wait, but the top of the question. Man, okay. So if I had 1 year to revive one of these defunct brands or business to profitability with the risk of losing your entire collection if you fail, and winning $455,000 eBay gift card if you succeed. So that's our prizes. So where are we willing to gamble? Who are we willing to gamble on? I'm still going with what I picked just because I think Jesse Ventura, you know, is the you know, the beast. Neo says SGC still moves like maple syrup in winter. I'm grading PC cards. So having them slabbed up, you know, and then see what happens. Like I said, someday they may start moving, someday they may not, someday they may see market, someday they may not. But you always have an option. At least you're paying $30 to get your card looked at, get it slabbed, and then from there you can do what you want to do in the future based on what you're deciding to want to do.
I'm also banking on PSA not being the end all be all, and not even in like 5 years, but in like 2 or 3. To be honest, like I don't think it's going to be like PSA rules the earth, you know, forever. I think it's all going to get closer as far as that resale value goes, because I think people are going to tie I don't think the people are going to think. I mean, look, the actual grade is not that much better between, you know, it's not as if there's a better grade, you know, between one company or the other. Now, if you trust PSA more as far as the, you know, authentication part to authenticate a card, then that's fine. But the resale thing, I think, is going to work itself out in the end. The dog, man. Yeah, the dog. Well, maybe sometime soon. I'll see if I can do a live with the dog on. She's cute. She's a good dog when she's not chewing on sandals. My wife went to bed a little bit salty tonight because one of her flip-flops vanished, and we found the pieces of it laying around. So yeah, there's that.
Trigger is saying spam, but I love spam, especially, when you put it on a nice piece of bread, you throw it in the microwave and heat it up a little bit first. Some people like the spam jelly, especially when you get it out of the can, but I don't know. The spam's gone. And speaking of the dog, I was missing a shoe the first night here, but no harm, no foul. Shoe was found.
Yeah, she likes to chew on shoes.
Let's see, E-Man. What do you guys think about possible fingerprint cards, a player's fingerprint next to their auto? Thoughts? I don't think that would go over very well, because that's like getting someone's fingerprints out in the public.
Yeah, that's true. Could be a security thing.
That's a security identification type thing. Yeah. I mean, it would be crazy, but it's something that I don't think people would ever go for. But all right, guys, like I said, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it a little bit early tonight. Like I said, always fun chatting it up with Dustin. We'll probably chat it up a little bit more when I get done. Maybe we'll trade a card. Who knows? Play some video games. All the things that high schoolers do. And, I'm flying out early in the morning, so I actually got to get some sleep and get packed. I got to go back home and get back to the norm. Any last things you want to say before we go?
Steve, thanks for coming, man. This was actually really cool. I mean, it's we were just talking. It's funny to meet somebody through YouTube, a little over a year ago, and it's like I think it's cool that you can hang out, and it's like the live streams, and it's like being at the shows, and it's like we don't skip a beat. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, it's like not awkward. Like, yeah, it's not
awkward. Yeah, no, it was good. So yeah, it was really cool having you. You're always welcome, obviously. So we'll have to do it again.
Yep, and check out my background, guys. It's the last time you'll see it. Maybe I'll make a green screen. I'll take a photo and make a green screen of this, and shoot a video at home with a green screen of Dustin's background. All right, guys, thanks for joining. Like on your way out if you haven't. Head over and subscribe to Dustin. Hit him up on Instagram, Personal Finance Dad. Hit me up on Instagram. It's the only thing in my description below if you don't know what it is, Flipping_Steve. And till next time, guys, have fun. Good luck in your investing. See you guys later.
See you guys.